Hello, delegates. We'll wait for the remaining three delegates to join back and then we'll start. And if they don't join back within the next 2 to 3 minutes, then we'll start without them. Could all the people present in the committee right now rename themselves to their portfolios so that we have an idea if all the delegates are here or not? Right, perfect. I believe everybody is here. I just hope I'm not missing anyone. Just give me 1 second, I'll check. So we did not have the we do we have delegate of Germany?
Yes.
Right, okay. So we have delegate of Germany, we have delegate of Dominican Republic, we also have United Kingdom, we did not have Belgium, we have Vietnam, we have South Africa, and we have Indonesia. Cool. So everybody is here. We had to start with the GSL. So the next speaker for the GSL was Dominican Republic. Uh, Dominican Republic, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
20% privilege. Just give me 2 seconds. My document is just loading.
Right,
Oh,
perfect, no
sorry.
problem.
Thank you for the recognition. The term contributions is defined as a part made by a person or thing which is bringing about a result or helping something to advance. And though the contributors from other nations have helped the Yemen crisis negative impacts reduce, it surely isn't happening fast enough. For almost a decade, small contributions of funding and resources have been given to relief camps in Yemen, and numerous agreements have been signed to help provide for the same. But in reality, what is the point of financially stable nations with enough funding available, contributing small amounts of resources when you know you can contribute more? What is the point of giving small amounts of resources when you know you are capable of providing Yemen with so many more advantages? What is the point in stating that you have helped as much as possible in a naive attempt to make oneself stand out as the better person? The Dominican Republic is condemned by this occurring repeatedly, as though the lives that are being taken away are fading into the background in your valiant attempts to make the small things that you have done stand out. And the fact that this has become normalized in our society and even in the UN is even more unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have about 20 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I would like to yield it to any questions.
Okay, so the delegates wishing to ask points of information to the delegate of Dominican Republic, kindly raise your hands. Right, okay. We have delegate of China after delegate of China and then delegate of Germany. So delegate of China, please ask your point of information.
Yes, delegate of Dominican Republic, you mentioned about donating resources for Yemen, but there are many countries who have fallen into recession after COVID-19. So, how will those countries contribute? Or there are many countries who have fallen into recession. So, do you have any ideas about that? How to proceed further?
Um, yes. In fact, as mentioned in my previous speeches, due to COVID-19, we're going to have to find a new normal. The Dominican Republic is not stating that people have to give just as much as they gave pre COVID, but they should give whatever they can, whilst making sure that their personal nations aren't put in any harm or danger.
Thank you, delegate. Delegate of Germany, kindly ask your question.
The delegate of Germany would like to know if you are implying that you would rather have someone give a larger donation than give any donation at all, especially if they're financially stable, because you cannot force any country to give a certain amount of money.
The Dominican Republic would like to reiterate the fact that they mention whatever you can. And even though larger donations, yes, they might have more impact, still, whatever is given still does have an impact on the Yemen crisis. And in no way is Dominican Republic saying that larger contributions are better. All that this delegate stated was that if you do have the amenities to provide a certain amount, no matter how big or small, that should be done just in order to give whatever impact you can to the Yemen crisis.
Thank you, delegate of Dominican Republic. Okay, so right, the next speaker we have on the general speakers list is the delegate of South Africa.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. The events in Yemen have long remained in the shadow of the numerous crises. Nevertheless, the Yemen crisis carries threats that have already started to affect its neighbors in the Arabian Peninsula and which might affect the interests of global actors in the future. The situation in Yemen has already been identified as one of the world's largest humanitarian catastrophes of the 21st century, causing concerns of the United Nations and the international community. If urgent measures are not taken to resolve the political crisis in the country, the situation could present greater challenges. The current environment requires new approaches to the crisis in Yemen. Solutions to the current situation will need to broker immediate peace, work to alleviate the humanitarian situation, and plan to ensure that the next round of peace talks will not simply be another postponement of violence in Yemen. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have about 35 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
Yield to the chair.
Okay, thank you, delegate. Okay, I'll be asking for more speakers for the GSL. So all the delegates wishing to speak in the GSL, kindly raise your hands. Dominican Republic, do you wish to be added to the GSL?
Yes, if that's okay.
No, no, that's of course I want more speakers for GSL. Right. So we have okay, United Kingdom has been recognized, followed by South Africa, followed by China, and then lastly followed by Dominican Republic. Right. Okay. So
Um,
that's
Point of order, if I can.
yes, delegate.
I had sent a chat and it had been acknowledged, so shouldn't I be before them?
To add your name to the GSL, your name is already added. You are
Oh,
currently the
sorry.
next speaker. I was just asking for because in order for me to move forward, I need to have more speakers before the last speaker. So before you speaking, I need to have more speakers. That is why.
Got it. I'm
Uh,
so sorry.
yes, Delegate of Germany, you are the next speaker. You have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
What we know about the humanitarian crisis in Yemen is horrifying, but what is scarier is what we don't know. The conflict has seen widespread violations of international humanitarian law by all parties involved in the conflict in the past, and these violations still continue. The three European officials of Sweden, Germany, and the UK said that after 6 years of war and with COVID 19 stretching the country's healthcare capacity to its limit, a ceasefire was essential for Yemen to have a chance against the pandemic. They had welcomed the Saudi led coalition ceasefire in April, but decreed continued violence in the country, mainly because of the Houthis not agreeing to ceasefire and launching missiles to Saudi, endangering civilians. The delegate of Germany would like to mention the latest development on 14 July 2020, wherein the United Nations Security Council renewed the mandate of the UN mission to support the Hodeidah Agreement until 15 July 2021. The Hodeidah Agreement was on the city of Hodeidah and the ports of Hodeidah, Salif, and Rasis, and focused on immediate ceasefire. Thank you for your time.
Right. Thank you, delegate. You have about 15 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
Neil to chair.
Okay. Thank you, delegate. Are there any points on the floor? Delegate of South Africa and delegate of Germany, do you have a point or were your hands raised? Okay. Okay. Are there any points on the floor? Seeing no points, are there any motions on the floor? Mm. Are there any motions on the floor? Seeing no motions, we move back to the GSL. The next speaker that we had for the GSL was the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of United Kingdom, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
Yemen was the poorest country in the Middle East before facing a civil war, and in 3 years, March 2018, the country's GDP per capita had declined by 61%. The UK takes note of such and has provided billions worth of assistance since the conflict began. But how long will we continue this? The armed conflict in Yemen have caused scores of airstrikes from Houthi-led parties, killing thousands of civilians. The UK has been part of peace talks regarding Yemen, such as the Stockholm Agreement, and has played a central role in diplomatic efforts to seek a peaceful solution to the conflict in Yemen. But does this committee really believe that peace talks will work? The agreement has been violated on multiple occasions by the Houthis, and the UK expresses alarm at this spiraling situation. The impending collapse of this agreement is visible in various statements that report over 970 Houthi violations between December 2018 and January 2019 alone. The UK urges countries present in committee to impose strong sanctions on countries providing resources to the Houthis. How valid is the littlest of, or the largest of contributions if it does not help the situation, does not contribute at all? How long will we expect the Houthis to listen to us while the situation of Yemen continues deteriorating? What can we, as part of the UNSC, do better? Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have about 15 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I would like to yield to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker. That is the delegate of South Africa. Delegate of South Africa, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
As mentioned before, the Yemen citizens are in dire situation. Hundreds of thousands of families no longer have a regular source of income, including teachers, health workers, water and sanitation workers, and other public servants. They have not been paid a regular salary in years. The conflict in Yemen is ultimately defined by the struggle for political control that is playing out between the national, regional, and the international forces that are involved in the war. The violence itself, however, is driven by four sets of conflicts: the conflict between the Houthis and the Hadi government, the regional fight between Saudi Arabia and its Gulf partners and Iran, the violent extremist organizations that are taking advantage of the conflict to entrench themselves in Yemen, and the sectarian and the tribal divides that have local power dynamics. Yemen has experienced years of wars, violence, and humanitarian crisis now reach all Yemenis. Diplomatic attempts at peace negotiations and ceasefires were unsuccessful, and social unity at the local level continues to disintegrate. Yet, the current situation in Yemen is not ripe for a military or high level diplomatic solution to take hold because it will be undermined by the existing and deepening conflicts at the local level. Society divides, tribal, sectarian, regional, and political, are deepening and remain the critical lever for peace, and stability. No national or international process can be successful and sustainable without targeted support to local level efforts to address these divides. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have about 7 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
Yield to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. Okay. Are there any points on the floor? Okay, no points. Are there any motions on the floor? Okay, we have the delegate of Germany followed by, okay, delegate of Germany followed by delegate of South Africa followed by the delegate of China. Germany, South Africa. Yeah. Okay,
Um,
delegate Germany, what is
the
your motion?
delegate of Germany would like to suspend formal debate and enter a moderated caucus on the topic of dealing with the post-crisis effects of the Yemen crisis for a total time of 15 minutes and an individual speaker time of 90 seconds.
Thank you, delegate. So could you also please send that in the chat for the reference of the delegates? Okay, delegate of South Africa, what is your motion?
The delegate of South Africa would like to suspend a formal debate and move into a moderated caucus on the topic previous action taken by countries and organizations towards implementing national and economic security in Yemen. Individual speakers' time being 60 seconds and total time being 10 minutes.
Right, thank you, delegate. That motion is in order. Delegate of Germany, just a confirmation. What was the individual speaker's time for your motion?
90 seconds.
Okay, and South Africa, yours is for 10 minutes and 60 seconds, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Delegate of China, what is your motion?
Yeah, the delegate of China would like to suspend the formal debate and move into an unmoderated caucus for 5 minutes.
Okay, so an unmod for 5. Okay. So by the order of disruption, we vote upon the motion raised by the delegate of China first. So although seconding the motion raised by the delegate of China, that is an unmod for 5 minutes, kindly say seconds verbally.
Seconds.
Okay.
Seconds.
Are there any oppositions?
Opposition.
Seeing both seconds and oppositions, we move into voting. First of all, China and South Africa, lower your hands. Right. All those in favor for the motion raised by the delegate of China for an unmod for 5 minutes, kindly raise your hands.
Chair, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, delegate.
Can I vote for my own motion?
Uh, yes, you have. Like you are in favor of your own motion, right? So just you cannot second your own motion, but you are in favor of your own motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. All those against the motion, kindly raise your hands. First of all, who are in favor, lower your hands, and then. Delegate of South Africa, you did not raise your hands for either for or against the motion.
Are we raising for against or for right now?
Okay, so there were 4 for the motion, so this motion passes. You are in an unmod for the next 5 minutes till 6:25, right? So just start with the debate.
425, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Exactly, 4:25.
Okay,
Delegate
so will we
point of keeping this unmod was 1 second. Point of keeping this unmod for 5 minutes was firstly, people are raising mods for topics that we haven't decided. So we had to go in order, right? Because delegates aren't prepared, especially the delegate of Germany.
The reason I voted for this unmod is because that we're just exhausting our list of mods already on the first day, and then
And
we'll
we
just
can't
have to
have
do that much
solutions.
more of research because that will be like really time consuming. I understand that MEN is important, but that's additional time.
To address the delegate of China's point, in the WhatsApp group, someone had quite literally said that they wanted to do 3 and 4, That's the only reason I raised the motion for the fourth
And
one.
we
Somebody,
finished the first two.
we've
Sorry.
already finished the first two, so
And
I
we
did
can't
not.
have solutions today.
Exactly, solutions has to be last.
I don't
So
think we
I
have enough
Yeah, I
time to. Yeah,
I agree
sorry.
with what you said, Delegate. So basically, right now we can have the rest two mods because we cannot just pass the committee time thinking that we have exactly thinking that we have less mods left. So we can of course plan for more mods today after the committee time. So I feel that instead of wasting the time, we should continue with the mods for today.
I agree with that. I think we should just finish till mod number 5, I think, which is right before the possible solutions one. Because I mean, we can think of more mods for tomorrow and day. I mean, day after will mostly be draft resolution, so we
We are
won't
left
need
with
that.
the so sorry.
No, continue. But yeah,
We are left with the previous actions as well as the post crisis as well as the steps taken by UN as well as with emphasis on UNSC. So I think we have enough mods that we can cover today. We don't have more than 1 hour.
yeah. This committee session, does anyone know when it ends?
Yeah. Okay.
It ends at 5. Yeah, it ends at
5:30. It ends at
5:30. So we
yeah.
have about an hour more, which I think exhausting, not obviously exhausting the GSL because then committee would be over, but one more mod probably if we want to take because we there were some topics that we two topics that we decided for unmod. So if you want to discuss that, which is role of regional organizations in the current situation and dealing with the Iranian government's presumable support to Houthi rebels, plus dealing with the AQAP in the region. So if you want to take an unmod to discuss those, that's also cool. Or we can do two. We can do either two
Delegate,
mods or we can do one
it's
mod, one on mod.
delegate. It seems senseless to take topics for the unmod because we are not marked as much for the unmod as we are marked for the mod. So if we are researching properly, then why shouldn't we take it as a mod topic itself when we have so much of time in hand?
Sure, that's
I
cool
agree with
too.
the delegate of China because
Because you
considering
guys,
that you have already prepared for the topic, it's better to take a mod for that topic instead of having an unmod. So what
okay,
I feel is we can do previous actions and dealing with the post crisis right now, the motion raised by delegate of Germany, and then after that, if we are left with some time, we can take another mod to discuss the topic you were planning on taking for the unmod.
yeah, so I think, no, but isn't it smarter to do the role of the UN in the crisis with emphasis on the UNSC? Because I mean, the reason I think both of those were in the unmoderated caucuses was people did have information on it, but they didn't have enough information to form a proper speech. I mean, that's what I thought at least.
No,
And
I guess
again,
AQOP is quite important and it's being mentioned in length in background guide as well.
Yeah.
So I guess the EB wants us to take that topic in consideration. So
just one thing.
AQOP is pretty important. Also, role of the UN is towards the end of the committee because it's more towards the solutions and that part of the committee. So we could take a role of the UN tomorrow and we can take previous actions and the post-crisis effects today and we can take the unmoderated caucus topics which you have taken in the form of moderated caucus tomorrow because we have covered around 4 to 5 moderated caucus today as well. So tomorrow
Yeah,
we
Um,
I
have
agree with
I'm
that.
so
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt,
to do
Uh,
but
six
I
or
think the
seven.
delegate of
Uh,
Dominican
our
Republic and
times.
United Kingdom want to say something, and we three have been speaking, so let them speak.
Delegate of Germany, I'm really sorry, but you are finished with your unmoderated caucus. Right. Could anyone wrap up the unmod, like what all you have discussed and what do you wish to do ahead? Anyone?
So basically, we kind of were kind of planning on deciding how are we going to proceed with the committee. Either are we going to take an unmod to discuss the topic, or we're going to take up more mods. So as you could see, we have not come to a solid conclusion right now. So I guess we're gonna as in continue with a few mods, and then if you're left with time, we'll take an unmod and decide how to go about with the committee.
Right. Okay. On an informal note, I was going through the discussions that you had on the WhatsApp group, and there was a document in which you listed out all the possible more topic solutions, and like there was a document over there. Okay. there was something in there called unmod topics. Just a clarification for whoever sent that document, unmods do not have topics.
Yeah, Chair, if I could just clarify that, I think it was more on like what we wanted to discuss in those unmods rather than actually giving the unmod a structured topic. We were
Oh,
just
oh,
listing down what we wanted to discuss.
because
Yeah.
right, okay, I was just going through that and I got confused. Like, unmods do not have topics, right? Perfect. Okay, moving back to where we left, that was the mod had finished. We are back. We move back to the GSL, and the next speaker that we have on the list is the delegate of China. Delegate of China, just give me 1 second. Yes, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds. Delegate of China left. Right. Okay. No problem. We move to the next speaker then. The next speaker being Dominican Republic. Delegate of Dominican Republic, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
Thank you for the recognition. The Dominican Republic is truly amazed at the speed through which legally binding agreements are being violated, such as the Houthi going behind the various agreements they promised to follow, whilst putting an entire nation at stake. The economy, healthcare, and basic resources that are available to Yemen are plunging downwards. And at this rate, there's a variety of people debating whether they'll truly be able to come back to even their pre crisis level as a minority, let alone truly develop as a nation. And the fact that some countries have the audacity to truly attempt to donate resources in attempts to better their own nation when they find themselves as a country that are unstable and evoke a sense of toxicity in their own nations and to other neighboring nations. Is it truly possible to make an impact on something around you when you truly yourself don't understand the meaning of human rights? Though innovation is the key to development, being down to earth is the key to gaining quicker results, especially with such a delicate issue with millions of lives at stake. And though development of nations contributing to the Yemen crisis is an important factor, do the delegates in this committee truly believe that they will be able to develop without having a base solution for the Yemen crisis in place? How long can we wait and watch Yemen be further pulled into negative depths of this crisis? Something has to be done now. And that something should be both flexible and innovative at the same time to provide both Yemen and our nations with results. Because after all, deep down, we do need those. The Dominican Republic urges other delegates to think about this.
Delegate, please wrap up.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
perfect.
done.
So, delegate, you elapsed your time. Okay, I need more speakers for GSL, at least one speaker. So, all the delegates wishing to speak in the GSL, kindly raise your hands. And wait, okay. Delegate of United Kingdom, do you wish to speak in the GSL?
No.
Right. Is delegate of China back?
She's not yet back.
Right. Okay. So wait, I need to check the recognition list. Delegate of okay. Delegates wishing to speak in the GSL, kindly raise your hands. We need to have at least one person wishing to speak in the GSL. Okay. Dominican Republic, you have been recognized. Any other delegates wishing to speak in the GSL, kindly raise your hands. Delegate of Vietnam, you have also been recognized. Fine. Okay. Delegate of Dominican Republic, kindly lower your hand. Okay. Perfect. So, are there any points on the floor? Okay. Are there any motions on the floor? Okay. Okay. Delegate of United Kingdom, you've been recognized.
The delegate of United Kingdom would like to suspend formal debate to move into a moderated caucus for previous actions taken by countries, with individual speakers' time being 60 seconds and total time being 15 minutes.
Previous actions taken by the countries.
Yes, with focus or emphasis on implementation of national and economic security.
Okay. And what is the time, delegate?
Individual speakers' time is 60 seconds and total time is 10 minutes.
Perfect. Are there any other motions on the floor?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, delegate.
Could the delegate please repeat the topic?
Delegate of United Kingdom, please repeat the topic.
Previous actions taken by countries with emphasis on implementation of national and economic security in Yemen.
Right. Are there any other motions on the floor?
Personal privilege.
I'm sorry, was somebody speaking?
So point of personal privilege, I got disconnected.
Yes, delegate. Okay. So you were the speaker in the general speaker list. However, you've been shifted back. So you were the next speaker in the general speakers list. And you did not miss much. There was just a more topic raised. And
Okay.
okay, do we have all the delegates back? We have one, we have two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah, we all have. Yeah. Okay. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing none, we vote. Okay. Seconds to the motion raised by the delegate of United Kingdoms. Say seconds only.
Seconds.
Seconds.
Okay. Oppositions to the motion raised by the delegate of United Kingdom. Say oppositions verbally. Seeing no opposition, this motion passes. So you are now in a mod caucus on the topic being previous actions taken by the countries to restore economic and one second, yep, to restore economic and national security in Yemen, with the total time being 10 minutes and individual speakers' time being 60 seconds. Delegate of United Kingdom, do you wish to be the first speaker?
Can I reserve my right to speak for like the last?
There is no right to speak last. There is just a right to speak first, or you can be recognized normally.
I would like to be recognized normally.
Okay, so all the delegates wishing to speak in the mod caucus, kindly raise your hands. Okay, delegate of um, Suhani, Dege, kindly please change your name to your portfolio. Okay, so we have delegate of South Africa, followed by delegate of China, followed by delegate of Dominican Republic. Okay, all three of you, please lower your hands. Okay, more speakers. Anybody else wishing to speak in the mod topic? Kindly raise your hands. Okay, delegate of United Kingdom, you have been recognized. Okay, then I'll ask for more speakers after this. Delegate of South Africa, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Okay, nations such as United Kingdom and United States support the Saudi Arabian-led intervention in Yemen primarily through arms sales and technical assistance. France has also made recent military sales to Saudi Arabia. CARE, a major humanitarian agency with headquarters in Switzerland, is providing aid to Yemen and is focused on strengthening communities' resilience in emergencies and crisis through programming in the following areas: food security and livelihoods, women, water and sanitation hygiene, reproductive health, and women's economic empowerment, education, and technical vocational training. The presence of non-governmental and international humanitarian organizations in Yemen continued increasing in 2017 after expanding by around 90% in 2015 in response to the escalation of the conflict. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We move on to the next speaker. That is the delegate
Thank
of
you,
China.
sir.
Delegate of China, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yemen's humanitarian crisis urgently needs international aid. Already a destitute country, Yemen now has 20.7 million people, more than three-fourths of its population in dire need of humanitarian assistance, and 17.1 million food insecure people. Yemen also has the world's largest cholera epidemic, which could reach 1 million cases by 2018. China is a member of the Friends of Yemen Conference, which has been collecting funds to address Yemen's challenges. In July 2017, Beijing delivered a grant of $22.5 million in relief assistance to the Yemeni government and additional funds to the UN's World Food Programme and the World Health Organization to help combat the cholera epidemic. In 2009, the Chinese government gave 7,53,000 grant to assist Yemenis displaced by the fighting between the army and Houthi rebels. Saudi Arabia and the UAE will likely contribute to Yemen's post-war construction, but much more aid will be needed.
Okay, thank you, delegate. We move on to the next speaker. That is the delegate of Dominican Republic. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Thank you so much for the recognition. Dominican Republic highlights and emphasizes on the fact that economic security in this particular nation, that is Yemen, is extremely important when it comes to battling the crisis and concluding the same. Without economic security, Yemen won't be able to move on after anything apart from a minority. It won't be able to truly enhance itself. And based on past actions taken by my particular country, we have contributed more than enough resources and amenities to the country itself while trying to help it grow. Economic security, as mentioned earlier, should also be a key part of a variety of international relation nations so that they also understand and emphasize this when they are trying to give resources to Yemen itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegate. We move to the next speaker. That is the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of United Kingdom, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
When the Houthi and security forces loyal to Saleh took control over Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, the UK provided logistical and intelligence support to an air campaign directed towards their defeat. When President Hadi's government approached countries to supply help and assistance for coalition forces led by Saudi, the UK government had felt entitled to support the cause and see a legitimate government restored. The UK takes note of the situation of Yemen and believes empowering Yemenis to lead their transition is vital, and it is a thought process supported by the UN. Additionally, the delegate of UK would like to add, the Yemen crisis will not only be solved by humanitarian efforts, as it is futile without providing them a stable land and a working economy, which is what the UK aims to do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any more delegates wishing to speak in the Smart Caucus? Delegate of China, do you wish to speak again?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. So, delegate of Vietnam, then the delegate of China, followed by the delegate of Dominican Republic. And do we have anybody else? No. Just give me 1 second. Delegate of Germany, do you wish to speak in this Smart Caucus?
No, thank
Point
you.
of personal privilege.
Yes, delegate.
How long is the speaking time for this moderated caucus?
It is 60 seconds.
Thank you.
Right. And 1 more second. Okay, then everybody else has spoken. Perfect. We go to the next speaker, that is the delegate of Vietnam. Delegate of Vietnam, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. Delegate of Vietnam.
Yeah.
You are the next speaker for the more topic. So,
Oh, I thought it was China. My bad. Yeah. So should I start?
yes, please start.
Thank you. Despite making many UN-backed peace negotiations for the ongoing Yemen crisis, nothing concrete yet has been established for restoring economic security. There would be a need of a proper institutional framework, and due to the military intervention, but not of one, but of many countries like UK, US, Germany, France, GCC, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. This has led a major setback to Yemen. And because of this, for a proper restoration of economic and national security, there needs to be a withdrawal of these third party nations. That's all.
Thank you, delegate. We go to the next speaker, that is the delegate of China. Delegate of China, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. As Yemen's major trading partner, China has an outsized economic presence in the country and could potentially become a prominent player in its reconstruction. Over the past 2 decades, China has provided numerous loans and grants to Yemen's government for development and technical cooperation projects. Both Saleh and Hadi have encouraged Chinese investments. During a 2013 state visit to Beijing, Hadi welcomed more Chinese projects to develop Yemen's electricity, oil, and gas sectors, even infrastructure. Before the Arab airstrikes, which halted these projects, China had planned to build more gas plants to supply desperately needed electricity and agreed to provide a $508 million soft loan to expand container project ports in Aden and Mocha. Thank you.
Delegate, what was the second port you named after Aden?
I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but I can spell it Mocha.
Oh, okay, perfect. Right, we go to the next speaker. That is the delegate of Dominican Republic. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Thank you for the recognition, Chair. As Dominican Republic has control over the UNSC now, it can propose a variety of agreements and possible solutions towards the economic struggles that Yemen faces. Because of its impact, even though it might not be legally binded all the time, it could have a big say in how the country deals with their economy at this point. And it also has the ability to reach a variety of nations, hence providing more economic support and financial support for Yemen itself. As this is a main part of overcoming the Yemen crisis, this delegate feels that all the other nations present here in this committee should truly start evoking policies for the same in their own countries to increase international relations and also set a fast track for development. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We are finished with this more topic. Wait, one, two. No, we can still have one more speaker. So, is there anybody else who wishes to speak again in this mod caucus? Kindly raise your hands. Okay, seeing that no one wants to speak again, we move back to the.
My hand is raised.
Oh, I'm really not able to see that delegate of Germany, but I'll add you to the list.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
So, yes, delegate of Germany, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Countries like the United Kingdom and United States of America continue to supply arms to Saudi despite knowing that these could be used directly or indirectly to harm Yemeni civilians. This is in no way justified and only worsening the situation. The delegate of Germany understands providing arms to the coalition in the beginning, but even after multiple events that endanger the life of Yemeni civilians coming from the Saudi coalition, why have the United Kingdom and USA not withdrawn providing arms? Further, coming to the contributions of Germany, as previously mentioned, Germany has not contributed to further damage in Yemen and has one of the most restrictive arm export control and policies. Further, is extremely proud of how in 2018, Chancellor Angela Merkel signed a coalition agreement in 2018 that distinctively forbids the weapon export to any country that is directly involved in the ongoing Yemen civil war. Finally, the delegate would also like to mention that Germany has very recently provided Yemen with $140 million to aid.
Please wrap up.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you, delegate. Delegate, could you just repeat your last point regarding the chancellor signing a coalition deal?
Sure. Further, is extremely proud of how in 2018, Chancellor Angela Merkel signed a coalition agreement in 2018, which distinctly forbids the weapon export to any country that is directly involved in the ongoing Yemen civil war.
Perfect. Thank you, delegate.
Thank you,
We are
sir.
now elapsed with this mod caucus. Are there any points on the floor? Seeing no points, we move back to the GSL. Right. So the next speaker that we had in the GSL was the delegate of China. Delegate of China, you have the floor for the next one. I'm sorry, 90 seconds.
Sorry, Chair.
We are moving back to the GSL, so you have the floor for the next 90 seconds for the GSL.
Okay, sure. So shall I start?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So focusing on the implications of the Yemeni war on migration. As aforementioned, the war in Yemen has led to the internal displacement of 2 million people. However, it has also contributed to the flight of 190,352 Yemenis to nearby nations, with Somalia, Ethiopia, and Iraq proving most popular. What is very ironic about this situation is that the opposite is happening as well. Migrants from northern African nations torn by conflict, mainly Ethiopia and Somalia, are attempting to make their journeys towards a better life or at least an escape from the realities in Saudi Arabia and neighboring countries through Yemen. As of February 2018, 280,692 African migrants are seeking refuge in Yemen, unable to make the full journey to Saudi. For those seeking asylum outside of the areas surrounding Yemen, options are limited, as not many nations wish to accommodate refugees specifically from Yemen. In fact, Saudi Arabia is leading in mass deportations of Yemenis to their homeland, which is currently being bombed by the very country. Thank you.
Okay, so delegate of China, you have about 15 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I'll yield it to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker on the GSLS, that is the delegate of Dominican Republic. Delegate, you have the floor.
Sir, so sorry to interrupt. Point of personal privilege. The
Yes, ma'am.
delegate of South Africa would like to get their name added to the GSL.
Sure, delegate to South Africa, you are the next to next speaker after delegate of Vietnam.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right, delegate of Dominican Republic, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
Thank you for the recognition, Chair. As mentioned in previous speeches in this particular committee and my previous speeches, the Yemen crisis cannot go unnoticed. And if resources are available with a bunch of nations, then they should put that forward to give that to Yemen. Not only will this help Yemen itself, but it will also help individual citizens in their own nations, as after all resources will end up coming from the citizens of the nation too, whether or not they are controlled by the government. Using the resources that are available would help the Yemen crisis to go away faster and will also help the nations themselves go higher in other nations' eyes. For they will be seen as people who are willing to give what they have to someone in need, which therefore leads to development and interactions between the countries. In conclusion, if the resources available are used in a manner that enhance their strengths, more information about the Yemen crisis would be increased, causing a positive outcome to come in no time. The Dominican Republic urges countries to come up with innovative solutions, such as a trust fund and common resource donation, in order to battle and conclude the crisis. It has caused numerous innocent lives to be taken away from people through treacherous militant groups and other means that decline people basic privileges and rights. It must be stopped. And the Dominican Republic strongly believes in this and urges other nations to do so too. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have elapsed your time. Delegate of United Kingdom, 1 second, just. Okay, so delegate of United Kingdom, what you can do is that you can either write a chit, that is to delegate of Germany from delegate of United Kingdom, as a, what do we say? Yeah, so you can write a chit, or you can Right, I'm so sorry for that. Delegate United Kingdom, you can write a chit or you can actually say it in one of your upcoming speeches, right? So that answering to the accusations or something that the delegate of Germany said, you may answer that in your further upcoming speeches.
Okay, can I have my name added to the GSL?
Sure, delegate. So you are after the delegate of South Africa. We go to the next speaker, that is the delegate of Vietnam.
Okay.
Delegate
Thank you for the recognition. With a population exceeding 25 million, Yemen's population is mostly divided along tribal as well as religious sectarian lines. Two major sects are Sunni from the Shafi school of thought and the Shias from the Zaidiya sect. According to UNHCR, the Shias make about 45% of the total population, while Sunnis are about 53%. The Houthi Zaidiyas among the Shias form about 30% of the total population. The tribal divisions also play an important role in the current power struggle. The Saudi-Iranian geopolitical competition defines the region's political landscape. There is an international dimension because the US, European Union, and Russia are also involved. I would like to put emphasis on the Saudi-led intervention, leading a coalition of 9 countries from West Asia and North Africa in response to calls from the pro-Saudi president, the Mansour Hadi, for the military support after he was ousted by the Houthi movement due to economic and political grievances and fled to Saudi Arabia. More than 2,000 Yemeni civilians have died, in which more than 1,000 women and more than 1,000 children have died. 500 plus Saudi civilians have been killed in Saudi-Yemeni border, added with the American and the British airstrikes. To conclude, the situation is going nowhere. Thus, it is highly recommended that this military intervention is stopped.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker on the general list. That is okay. Guys, just confirm one thing. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. The next speaker that we have on the list is the delegate of South Africa.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. The delegate of South Africa feels that Yemen is in urgent need of at least short-term solutions till the time some major political or economic change is made. Without urgent action, up to 14 million people, fully half the population, could be at risk in the coming months. To avoid imminent catastrophe, several steps are urgently required. First, violence must stop everywhere with an immediate halt around critical infrastructure and densely populated areas. Second, commercial and humanitarian imports of food, fuel, and other essentials must be allowed to enter Yemen without restrictions. Roads must remain open so life saving goods can reach communities across the country everywhere. Third, the Yemeni economy must be supported. This includes taking critical steps to stabilize the exchange rate and to pay salaries and pensions. Fourth, international funding must increase now so that humanitarian agencies can expand their reach as necessary. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, delegate. You have about 30 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I yield it to the chair.
Sure. Thank you, delegate. We have a point of order for the delegates. Okay. Sure, delegate. Delegate of Germany, you've been excused. I'm asking, I need to ask for more speakers for the GSL. So all the delegates wishing to speak in the GSL, kindly raise your hands. Okay, delegate of Indonesia, you've been recognized. Um, Dominican Republic, you have been recognized. Any other speakers wishing to speak again? Okay, seeing no more. Are there any points on the floor? Perfect. Are there any motions on the floor? Delegate of South Africa, followed by the delegate of China. Delegate of South Africa, what is your motion?
The delegate of South Africa would like to suspend formal debate and move into a moderated caucus with the topic dealing with the post-crisis effects of the Yemen crisis, and individual speakers' time being 60 seconds and total time being 10 minutes.
May I request the delegate to change the individual speaker's time to 90?
No, you cannot delegate. Just 1 second. Delegate of, this is the delegate of South Africa. Delegate, this motion. Okay, no, perfect, perfect. This motion is in order. Delegate of China, what is your motion?
Same motion, Chair.
So you second the motion raised by the delegate of South Africa?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. So other delegates wishing to second the motion raised by the delegate of South Africa, kindly say seconds verbally.
Seconds.
Seconds.
Sure, okay. Any oppositions to that motion? Say oppositions verbally.
Point
Opposition.
of personal privilege.
Yes, delegate of Germany.
Could you please repeat the motion as I was not present to hear it?
Right. The motion was that the delegate of South Africa would like to move to a moderated caucus on the topic being post-crisis effects of the Yemen crisis, for the total time being 10 minutes and individual speakers' time being 60 seconds. Right. So seconds were there. Any oppositions to that motion? Say oppositions verbally.
Opposition.
Okay. Seeing both of them be moved to voting. All first of all, South Africa, China, do you have any points or
Sir, I had point of personal privilege.
yes, delegate?
So what was the individual speaker's time?
It was 60 seconds individual speaker's time and 10 minutes the total speaking time.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Delegate, kindly lower your hand. Okay. All those in favor of the motion, kindly raise your hands. Okay, first of all of you lower your hands, and all those against the motion, kindly raise your hands. Delegate of Indonesia, are you present in the committee?
I voted for the motion.
Okay, I was not able to see your hand. Okay, so this motion clearly passes. We are now in a mod caucus on the topic being post-crisis effects of the Yemen crisis, for the total time being 10 minutes and the individual speaker's timing 60 seconds. Right. Delegate of South Africa, do you wish to be the first speaker?
Yes, sir, I would like to be the first speaker.
Sure, just give me 1 second. This is the fourth module done. Perfect. Okay. Delegates wishing to speak in the mod caucus, kindly raise your hands. Delegate of United Kingdom, followed by the delegate of Germany, followed by the delegate of China, followed by the delegate of Dominican Republic. Any other delegates wishing to speak in the smart caucus, kindly raise your hands. Seeing no more, we start with the mod caucus. South Africa, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Okay, thank you, sir. War and violence is futile and does more harm to civilization than good. Long after the fighting stops, war continues to impact on the health of soldiers, civilians, and the environment. Among the consequences of war, the impact on the mental health of the civilian population is one of the most significant factors. Due to the enormous destruction caused, it would take years for the country to rebuild itself, as coming out of a crisis is not a piece of cake either. There would still be some sort of fear and distrust in the minds of citizens that such crisis and war may resurface. Whatever body is set to govern Yemen post crisis must have strong policies as well as plans so as to avoid future crises and have enough resources too. The body should be opposite enough to overcome the people's distrust and the intricate ethnic division of Yemen. Thank you. I am so sorry. So sorry.
Thank you, delegate of South Africa. We move to the next speaker, that is the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of United Kingdom, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Thank you for the recognition, Chair. The war has led to the internal displacement of over 2 million people. When traveling to different parts of the country, the people leave behind profitable crops and have to farm lower risk crops with higher investment. In terms of migration, many Yemenis attempt to flee the country to nearby nations such as Somalia, Ethiopia, and Iraq, and many have died at sea, been killed mid escape, been rejected from countries, or have been put in concentration camps. If the conflict is not resolved fast, it is very likely the Yemenis won't have any place to go. For children brought up in an environment as such, there has been major damage to their cognitive development, and it is largely irreversible. This will induce more learning difficulties if provided an environment for so, putting them at a disadvantage at the workplace, possibly trapping their families in a cycle of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker in the list, that is the delegate of Germany. Delegate of Germany, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Concluding the crisis will be a great victory for both Yemen and the whole world, although Yemen will face multiple challenges on the path to reconstruction. Re-establishing appropriate education in Yemen will allow reduction of poverty cycles that tend to repeat in society. Several challenges have been identified while trying to achieve a better education for children in Yemen. These include the lack of a unified vision and leadership caused by the split of the MOE between Sanas and Aden, the politics and division of education. The same can be seen by the example of Sana abandoning newly revised first grade Arabic textbooks, whereas Aden still plans to use these books. And most importantly, the lack of appropriate infrastructure for education. The list of challenges for rebuilding education in Yemen itself are never ending. Imagine the challenges communities will face while trying to rebuild it as a whole. Hence, discussion and consideration of the same are critical while creating a resolution. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, delegate. You have elapsed your time. We move to the next speaker on the list, that is the delegate of China. Delegate of China, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Firstly, talking about the economical impacts of the Yemeni war, um, the war has serious economic costs. The loss of buildings, infrastructure, a decline in the working population, uncertainty, rise in debt, and disruption to normal economic activities. Coming on to the psychological effects, it is possible to estimate economic costs of a war. However, it is harder to estimate the psychological costs of war, the pain of death, suffering, and disability. A conflict can leave soldiers and civilians traumatized for the rest of their lives. In recent years, post-traumatic stress syndrome is more widely accepted. But putting a cost on how war negatively affects those involved is difficult to do. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker on the list, that is the delegate of Dominican Republic. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds. Delegate of Dominican.
I'm so sorry, there was a little lag. Okay, now I'm going to begin my speech. It's no secret that there will be post-crisis effects when it comes to the civil war in Yemen. The crisis has been going on for almost a decade, therefore increasing the negative impact of the same. Due to lack of proper living places in Yemen, building sustainable places for basic life to move on would be a key aspect of dealing with post-crisis effects. Another aspect of the same is making sure that all citizens are educated, not just about basic content that we learn in school, but also about world issues so that they can be a leader in a world where such crises wouldn't exist. But the challenges that this entire nation faces can only be imagined, and are probably going to be worse than what we planned for. Therefore, we must put flexible and useful solutions in place, regardless of the outcome and scenario. Regardless of past differences and contributions to battling the crisis, nations must come together to even gain a small amount of outcome from this. The Dominican Republic urges other nations to agree with this statement and to also input it into their basic policies. Thank you.
Thank you,
Chair, can I
delegate.
give personal privilege?
Yes, delegate of China.
Chair, can we ask a point of information to a delegate in a mod caucus?
Verbally, no, you cannot. Via chit, yes, you can.
Okay, yeah.
Right, okay. Other delegates wishing to speak in the mod caucus, kindly raise your hands. Just give me 1 second. Delegate of Vietnam, do you wish to speak in this mod caucus?
No, no, yeah.
Delegate of Indonesia, do you wish to speak in this mod caucus? If you are here.
No.
Okay. Okay. Delegate of United Kingdom, followed by the delegate of Dominican Republic. And do we have any other speakers? Delegate of China. Sure, okay. See no more speakers. Perfect. Delegate of United Kingdom, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Reiterating my previous points, for children brought up in an environment as such, there has been major damage to their cognitive, physical, and psychological development, and it is largely irreversible, according to the UNICEF. This will induce more learning difficulties if provided an environment for so, putting them at a disadvantage at the workplace, possibly trapping their families in a cycle of poverty. The infrastructural damage causes problems with economic development, and the UK's contribution aims to work on it. The UK keeps in mind that the Houthis' targeting of water and sanitization supplies and sources are concerning, as they may directly impact the transportation of food aid, and the UK works to provide direct food supply to the country. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We move to the next speaker, that is the delegate of Dominican Republic. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
As mentioned in my previous speech on this topic, we must cooperate and put past differences behind us and also create solutions that are flexible enough so that we can be prepared for any outcome that would come with the post crisis effects of this Yemen crisis. One example of the same would be to put laws in place for Yemen's future government, which would obviously have to be more stable than this one, in order for them to ensure that nothing like this ever happens again and that their citizens are given back all the amenities that they never had due to this crisis. This could also include amenities such as basic food and water, which could also come in form of scholarships for families' children so that they can go into further education, regardless of whether they're a minority or not. The Dominican Republic urges other delegates to combat the Yemen crisis now in order to have post-crisis effects that would be lesser later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, delegate. We move to the next speaker, that is the delegate of China. Delegate, you have the floor for the next 60 seconds.
Coming on to the impacts which are there on the education, in times when a country is in an economic crisis, there is an increase in poverty, which in turn results in the decline of education. Over half of the Yemenis children that are out of school are forced to live in conflict affected, fragile areas. According to the UNESCO report, the groups most negatively affected by conflict were those with wealth, language, and ethnicity. One predominantly damaging effect of conflict on education is the proliferation of attacks on schools with children. Teachers and school buildings become the targets of violence. During times of war, teachers and students are suffering from death or displacement. This prevents the opening of schools and increases teachers' absenteeism. In Yemen, boys were pulled out of school to work for their families, and therefore the education gap between men and women shrank.
Thank you so much, delegate. So we can still have two speakers. So delegates wishing to speak Kindly raise your hands. Okay. Seeing no more speakers, we have elapsed this mod caucus. Any points on the floor? Okay, seeing none. On an informal note, okay, is everybody understanding how the committee is going? Are there any, like informally, any doubts that you have or anything like so, of the
None,
sort?
it's going pretty well.
Anybody else? Any problem that you're facing? Anything you're not able to
Um,
understand?
No, sir, it's completely fine.
no, it's fine.
Perfect. So we move back to the GSL. The next speaker on the list that we have is the delegate of Germany. So, delegate, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
I'm so sorry. Is this for the general speakers list?
Yes, this is a general speakers list.
I do not believe I had raised my hand for it.
Um, sure, delegate. Just give a second. Perfect. Okay, my mistake then. Germany is not there. Delegate of Indonesia, you are the next speaker.
Thank you
Delegate.
for this opportunity. I will be speaking on the relations of Indonesia and Yemen. So, speaking on how Indonesia has helped Yemen, Indonesia's Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi talked about the conflict in Yemen. She mentioned that Indonesia is concerned about the development and the escalation of recent tensions in Yemen, especially regarding the impact on the humanitarian crisis. Indonesia is deeply concerned about the humanitarian crisis going on, which has also been made worse due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There are thousands of Indonesian students in Yemen, and approximately more than 2,000 Indonesians visit Saudi Arabia on a pilgrimage every year. Although Indonesia is geographically away from the conflict, it wants peace in both Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Indonesia will be sending revenues to the Central Bank of Yemen through its branch in Hodeida. They will see to the revival of the economies in support of the humanitarian efforts. Indonesia would like to reiterate the unity of the Security Council to take measures to ease the suffering of the Yemenite people and to support any action that could progress the peace process. Humanitarian support started to reach people in need, but the situation is still dire. Indonesia supports the work of UNICEF, WHO, and other world organizations to cure and stop this outbreak. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have about 10 seconds remaining. How do you wish to use your time?
I would like to yield it to the chair.
I'm point of
Okay.
personal privilege.
Yes, delegate of Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the chair could just read out the next few speakers in the GSL list.
We just have the delegate to Dominican Republic. I'm going to ask for more speakers.
A point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, delegate.
Wasn't my name put after South Africa's? And right after South Africa's JSL, we moved into a mod caucus.
Okay, delegate, that is my fault. I seem to have misplaced your name with the name of the delegate of Germany. So I'm really sorry. Delegate of UK, you are the next speaker on the list, followed by the delegate of Dominican Republic. Right, I'm sorry for the mistake. Any other delegates wishing to speak in the GSL? At least one country. Fine. Delegate of China, you have been recognized. Any other delegates wishing to speak in the GSL? Delegate of Vietnam, do you wish to speak in the GSL?
No, no, actually.
Okay, delegate, no problem. Fine. We go to the next speaker on the list, that is the delegate of UK.
Do I have the floor?
Yes, delegate, you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
If a country cannot possibly stand up for itself in a situation where its leader is overthrown, are they truly any better or credible in this situation? Germany, for instance, didn't a lot of your citizens support Hitler, the epitome of violence? Coming back to the original accusation, The UK has admittedly licensed the sale of arms to Saudi, but the delegate believes how they utilize it would be better discussed if they were present in committee. But there had been no pattern of Saudi Arabian strikes that breach international law. The UK's trained personnel continue to guide and point to be noted violence and will encourage violence as a defense mechanism or a last resort. Christoph Huesken, I think that's how they pronounce it, council president for April, said delegates sound like broken records, with everyone agreeing that there is no military solution and that everything must be done for a political settlement. Christoph Huesken was the council president for Germany. My question to Germany is, what would you suggest? More peace agreements? How have they worked out in the past?
Is that all, delegate?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so delegate, you have about 20 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I would like to yield my time to the chair.
Perfect. We move to the next speaker on the list. That is, no, before that, are there any points on the floor? Seeing no points on the floor, are there any motions on the floor? Sure. Okay. Seeing no motions, we come back to the GSR. Okay, Dominican Republic, you are the next speaker and you have the floor for the next 90 seconds.
As the leaders in government of a nation make all of the final decisions, what is the point of trying to combat something if the leaders don't know what they are doing? For example, in the Yemen crisis, the reason that that started was because of the political instability in that country. So instead of trying to find solutions that the citizens can do, which is also an important part, I think it's also imminent to form some solution between the leaders of the countries themselves. I suggest that the delegate of Dominican Republic suggests that there should be some sort of meeting around an annual time of year so that people can discuss with both the citizens and the leaders of the country different ways to which the Yemen crisis can be concluded. Through this, the different countries can also come to a single agreement which will allow them to share the right resources with the country too. And this delegate is appalled at the number of leaders in the country that don't seem to take sort of damage control for the things that they have done themselves. If a leader isn't going to be accountable for something that they have done, is there really any meaning in being a leader at all? Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You have 10 seconds remaining. How do you wish to yield your time?
I'd like to yield to any questions.
Right. Perfect. All the delegates wishing to ask POIs to the delegate of Dominican Republic, kindly raise your hands. Sure. Delegate of South Africa, followed by the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate of South
First,
Africa, kindly ask a question.
yeah, first I have a point of parliamentary inquiry. Before this, I sent a chat via the EB to the Dominican Republic, but there was no reply. So should I raise it as a point of information now, or should I wait for the reply as a chat only?
Uh, your choice, delegate. It is exactly like it is your choice. If you wish to raise that again, sure, do that. If you wish to ask another POI, that's your choice.
Okay, so I would like to take it over as a point of information. Delegate of Dominican Republic, in your speeches, you continuously put up the point about you urging the rest of the countries to provide assistance to Yemen and provide the country with financial help, etc. Delegate, could you please elaborate about the fact that what your country has done towards the same?
When it comes to financial aid to Yemen, the Dominican Republic has been providing whatever resources that they can. As a country that's not really, though they haven't done much, they do plan to do more in the future. And through this MUN, I plan to propose a variety of solutions that would make it easier for my country to do more financially for Yemen. Even though they haven't done it financially, Dominican Republic has contributed a lot of resources and has played a key role in spreading awareness about the Yemen crisis.
Right, perfect. Thank you, delegate. Next, we have the delegate of United Kingdom.
The delegate of Dominican Republic mentioned that rather than focusing on what citizens can do in the country, the delegate of United Kingdom would like to ask, where have we mentioned in our speeches what the citizens can do?
Delegate, I think I conveyed the information wrong. I was talking about what the citizens could do in my speeches, but now that I thought it would be better for leaders to do more than the citizens. Sorry for any confusion caused.
Perfect. Thank you, delegate. We wait just a second. Right. I need names for GSR. Yup. So delegates. Okay. South Africa. Do you have any question?
No, sir, my hand was raised from before. So
Okay.
sorry.
So everybody, please lower down your hands if you do not have a question.
Shara had a point of information for for
Uh,
Dominican Republic. I'm sorry.
delegate. The delegate just had about 10 seconds remaining, so you can ask that question via chat.
Okay, sure, sir.
Right. Please lower down your hands. Delegate of United Kingdom and China. And yes, all the delegates who want to be added to the GSL, kindly raise your hands. United Kingdom, do you wish to be added to the GSL?
No.
Okay, perfect. So we have delegate of China. You are already on the list, so you are the next speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Delegate to Dominican Republic, you have been recognized. Perfect. Anybody else wishing to speak in the general speakers list? I encourage delegate of Vietnam and delegate of Indonesia to also add their names to the further speeches. Okay, perfect. Right. So there is about 5 minutes remaining. So do you wish to continue with the GSL or take an unmod for 5 minutes and decide what you need to do for tomorrow's debate?
Is this on an informal note? I will have.
This is on an informal note. Yes.
Okay. Personally, I think it might be better to have an unmod so we don't waste any more time after committee so that we can start preparing the other delegates out.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. We can
I
decide
agree with the
further.
delegate of Dominican Republic.
Sure.
Me
Okay.
too.
If anybody has any problem right now, please tell it verbally.
No.
Okay. So nobody has any problem. So by the discretion of the executive board, you have an unmod till 5:30.
Okay. So I think last time, since the target of the United Kingdom and Dominican Republic didn't get to speak, I think they should go first with their views.
Delegate of UK, you can start.
United Kingdom.
I think Dominican Republic can start.
Okay then. For tomorrow's debate, since we've got 3 days in total for this conference, I think we should start by first finishing all the moderated caucuses, including the solutions one if possible, so that on the third day we we can continue talking about the solutions one by phrasing that moderated caucus in a different manner if delegates would like. But we'll also have more time to discuss the draft resolution and working paper. That's just for
Just
that.
to reiterate, tomorrow there are two sessions, and both those sessions are for 2 hours.
Delegate of Vietnam, would you like to say something else?
Oh, like just whatever you plan out, just go ahead.
Okay, for tomorrow, I guess instead of like the chair said that we do not have topics for the unmoderated caucus, and I believe that we have 4 hours for both the days. The topics we you decided for the unmoderated caucus, we could, as in if everybody wants to, we could put them into the moderated caucus, and we can have moderated caucus tomorrow also. As if you see, we have had 4 moderated caucus today, and a huge number of GSL. So I think same thing is going to happen tomorrow. In fact, more because we're going to have 4 hours and today we just had 3 hours, which also included the ROP. So I believe that we should keep a lot more mods for tomorrow.
I just want to point out I'm completely okay with that, but I just want to say that the second unmoderated caucus topic that we thought we could discuss, whoever wrote it, can they please emphasize on dealing because it's quite vague and like
Yeah,
if
I
you
have
could
a
just
question.
clarify it.
Yes, delegate Avia.
Yeah, so like all the mod topics which you guys decide, could you please just like repeat like what all have you decided? What all topics have been decided yet?
Yeah, sure, delegate. 1 second. So the topics that have been decided for the Mount Caucus, this is without any further like explanation of the term dealing, as delegate of Germany asked. First one is role of regional organizations in the current situation, and the second one is dealing with the Iranian, I don't know how to say that, government's presumable support to the rebels, and dealing with AQAP in the region. So it's a lot of factual discussions, which is honestly really, I personally.
Um, I think dealing with would refer to how what we're going to do about it as a committee, what our countries can do, and even look at like your foreign relations related to it. Does that answer your question, Delegate of Germany?
Partially, yes, thank you. Okay, so
Um,
we're deciding how many mod caucuses for tomorrow and how many do we
Okay,
need
just
to
a second.
create?
See, we have two mod caucuses left, plus the role of the UN, right? The additional idea which has been written in the Google Doc, it's written that terror caused by the Yemen crisis with focus on terrorist and militant groups. Since it's same for the unmoderated caucus, it's like combined. So we need to find at least 5 more mod caucuses for tomorrow because today we had around 4 to 5 of them with so many GSLs. So, does anyone have ideas? Because I posted them in group, and since I was not there in the first meeting, so I guess you all voted against them. So, does someone have more ideas for the mod caucuses?
I think we should
uh,
honestly do not whatever, like not all of the topics that were sent in the WhatsApp group, but we should further debate on that since we now know that we like don't have that
Yeah,
time constraint.
sure. Do you want me to pull them up?
Yeah, sure.
These were sent on the block one group, correct, delegate?
Yeah. Also, delegates, if anybody wants to join the block one, it's there.
okay, till the time delegate of Germany is finding out the things, I just wanted to ask that tomorrow we're gonna go ahead with the role of UN in the crisis with emphasis on UNSA. And I still don't feel that we should do solutions tomorrow because I don't want each of us to go out of research. And I
Yeah, no,
seriously
no,
don't.
delegate. I just was saying that because I didn't realize that like we were going to find.
Okay. I'm just gonna start reading them out. I'm gonna read out all of them. So if they're already there, please excuse me. The first one over here is description of the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, which is up.
Covered.
Already covered,
Kind
yeah.
of. Yeah.
Okay. Impact of COVID-19 has been covered. Dealing with AQAP in the region has been covered.
That's going to be covered in the
That's
militant
going
groups
to be
one. Is
covered,
that
yeah.
right, China?
Impact of government
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
society interaction on the nation and the crises.
We could include that actually.
Delegate of Germany, could you just forward that because I have deleted the chats.
Sure, it'll take a few minutes for sure. I'm going to repeat it. Impact of government society interaction on the
Delegate of
nation and
Germany, can
Gotta
you?
get my it's loud.
Decrease your volume a bit.
okay. What was I saying? Sorry. Impact of government society interaction on the nation and the crisis.
Okay, delegates, just give me 1 second. Is there anybody from the KEDMUN Secretariat present in the committee right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the part of the secretary too. Perfect. So I just wanted to ask, like, there is a link for the delegates to give the feedback. If there is something I need to tell the delegates, like, should I tell it right now or should I also send it on the WhatsApp group or something like that?
You can tell them right now.
I'm really sorry you're not audible.
You can tell them right now.
Okay, perfect. Delegates, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Okay. Right, like whatever I'm saying, just write them down somewhere because this will help you in tomorrow's debate, right? First thing, there are 9 questions. Like, did you all read the background guide? Entire background guide? Be honest. Did you guys read the entire background guide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you realize there is a section in the end, questions a researcher must answer? There are 9 questions over there, and I believe that all 9 of them need to be answered because I believe none of them had been answered in today's session. So this is the first thing. Go through those 9 questions and figure out what to do, right? After that, you need to, like, you speaking, this is something I said earlier also, you speaking in an overview point of a thing, right? You need to go more specific. For example, delegate of Germany gave an example of textbooks, right? That the textbook are not being used. You need to figure out why they are not being used. Why is it that they create that, like they create a sense of hostility in those people? What could be, and don't consider that solutions are going to be only one separate mod. You can include your solutions in your pre-existing mod topics also. Like just give 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just one solution. But it is important that you give a solution to that too. So this is the second thing, the analysis of it. Third thing, okay, you guys are trying to figure out solutions, right? Don't you think there would be in real life already countries that have would have tried to solve this issue, and there would have been already existing treaties, conventions, resolutions signed by all the real life members of SC, because they obviously have been trying to solve this for a long time now. Go and read through them. Go search Google SC resolutions related to the Yemen civil war. You will find multiple resolutions. Some examples of the top of my like head, I have like SC resolution 2017 856. This is some of them I used to refer. I'm not really sure about the numbers, so don't take my word on it, but there are many resolutions regarding the Yemen civil war. Okay. Fourth point is essentially that go specific, provide analysis. So this is not much of a point, right? Then the SC reports are legally binding. So it also covers the legal aspect of the committee. UNSC is obviously a highly legal committee. You need to talk about the laws. You need to talk about treaties that are legally binding. You need to talk about international law. You need to talk about the domestic law of the country. So try and read documents of the countries, the conventions, the resolutions, since they are all part of the legal aspect of those solutions, right? So this is one thing. And next thing, which is really important, we went through 3 hours of debate today, and there have been 2 chits, and I'll provide you the right numbers. Give me 1 second. There have been total of one, two, three, four, 5 POIs for the like entire time of 3 hours, and just 2 chits. And points of information, they carry a lot of marks, so you should focus on asking more points of information. And points of information are not that you are saying that other countries should do this, what are you doing on your own, right? These are not essentially points of information. Points of information, like you write an English paragraph, should cover basic 3 things: causes, effects, and solutions. So like somebody said that they should release a task force into Yemen to control the situation. So you need to figure out the causes. What were the causes that actually led the country to build up to that particular stance to have a task force? What would be the effect? Considering that this is a Middle Eastern country, people would become hostile to that, and all those you need to figure them out. Okay. And the possible solutions, you believe that a task force is it like feasible? Is it viable enough to send a task force into Yemen? Right? So when you ask these questions, so this would be framed in a similar way that you said that a task force should go in. How do you provide the fees to it, because already a large amount of money is going to the Yemen civil war? What were the reasons that you actually build up? So you need to combine all of these and ask a good POI. It is not that what are you doing, why are you doing, and all that. You need to, the word is analyze, right? What you do in MENs is that you basically analyze all the data and provide the best certain solution that you can give. So try to ask POIs in that way. So this is all I had to say. And just keep in mind all the things that I've said within these last 5 minutes, because I'm sure this will be able to help you throughout the debate for the next 2 days. Right? Any doubts that you guys had?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. Okay, there is a link for the feedback over there. So please just go and check it out. Fill in the feedback. I just had one feedback personally for me. Is there any personal feedback for me? Good, bad, something I could improve on, something which I could focus on more, and be honest.
Sir, it was totally fine. It was good, in fact.
Thank you, Delegate South Africa. Any other person wishing to speak anything?
I
Um,
agree with South Africa. It went really well.
it
And
That
isn't
was
you
just in
executed
Um,
really
regard.
well.
it was really nice.
Yes, Delegate of Germany.
Yeah, it's not in regards to feedback to you, but I'm still a little confused about. In the beginning, I asked a question regarding plagiarism in someone's speech, right? And like I know this, like I know the content of the source and it's word to word, but I can't seem to find the source. So is pointing it out enough, or do I need to give you the actual source too?
You need to give me the document from which they copy pasted it.
Got it. Thank you.
Right? Perfect. So since that has been covered, I have nothing else to say. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Something that okay?
Chair,
There's
I
a link
had a
to the feedback.
question.
Yes. The who is this? The delegate?
So this is the delegate of United Kingdom.
Yes, delegate.
So I've been asked a question via chat through the EB. Do I respond in the WhatsApp chat or should I bring it up?
You respond on the WhatsApp chat.
Okay.
All chats either, and you just write a reply like via EB in brackets. You write reply so that we know that this was an answer to a prior chat.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So we have elapsed the committee for right now for day one, and I hope that you guys research well today. And like I'll see you tomorrow at. Let me pull up the. Yeah, tomorrow
30.
at 12:30. Right?
Sir, on an informal note, if you don't mind me asking, what are all the criterions for the awards for this MUN?
Not now. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh, anything
Thank you,
rapid? Do
Chair.
you want to give any feedback?
None. It was actually really, really good.
Thank
No,
you,
I
Right.
Chair.
think everybody spoke. So I believe Delegate of Indonesia should probably talk more.
Perfect.
Okay.
Just feedback.
Right. Perfect. Any other thing you wish the committee to know, Rapid?
No, that's it.
Perfect. So, guys, we're over for here. If there are any questions, you can ask them right now. And can the delegates leave?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you have no
Join
question.
back. Yeah, join back tomorrow at 12:30 on the same link.
Right, guys, research well and have quality debate tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chair.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.